contemporary, and he does some really amazing stuff. And I
Thank
thought
you.
it would be great for the students to hear from an artist's point of view, how you market yourself, and what is it like to be getting these major contracts you do, like with Newark with the
Sure.
murals.
Okay.
Maybe show some pieces and take it away, Dan.
Okay. Well, the feeling is mutual too, by the way.
Thank
And thank you, Trish, for turning me on to the Oculus. Okay. I've been really having a blast with it. I got one for my son too, and it's opened up a whole new line of communications
Oh,
between.
we have to meet.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We can meet in one of the programs, painting
That's amazing.
programs.
It's amazing.
We could do some art together.
I would love that. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, totally.
So so my name's Dan Fenelon. I'm a local New Jersey artist. I do a lot of public artwork around the state. I'm going to show like some of my stuff to you today. Maybe you might recognize it depending on where you live. I was just going to talk a little bit about my career, okay, and how I got started. And then, I'll just show you some artworks, and then we'll open up for some questions. How does that sound?
Sounds perfect.
All right, great. So, let me just start off. So I went to the School of the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, Massachusetts. Okay, that's where I started my art career. I was talented in high school, the same old story, everybody, and my parents didn't know anything about art. They didn't have a clue. In that way, I think I was fortunate because I was able to convince them to let me go to art school. Okay. It was really great. It was a really great experience. I was there for 4 years. I made some lifetime friends who I still stay in contact with. At that time, I wanted to go into a career as an animator, okay? So I studied animation, but in those days, we didn't have computers. It was all just cell animation. So, I studied how to do work with 16 millimeter cameras and all that. And I think that was kind of my intro into the tech world. And it certainly has come a long way since those days. And, now you can put on a pair of glasses and be immersed into a whole world of animation. So after school, after I went to the museum school, what happened was I needed a job. Okay, so I got a job in an art gallery, and it was very low paying. I started to very quickly realize that I needed to make some adjustments to my life in order to, make a living as an artist. And so I got a job at a pharmaceutical company, and I worked there for 8 years as a graphic designer. And during that time period, that's when like the computers came in. So they plopped this little tiny beige Mac at my desk and said, you have to learn how to use this. And fortunately for me and one of my other, every job I have, I gain lifetime friends. My dear friend and old friend, John Hovels, who was sitting next to me, were the two youngest people in the place. And that's my alarm to join the group. So all the older guys were like, that's never going to work. Can't kern properly, And so they said, okay, you two have to learn how to use the computer. And that's where I learned how to use a Mac. And from that job, I went on to work at a sports marketing firm, okay, where I became like their illustrator, their in-house illustrator. And I worked at that job for 8 years. And I loved that job. It was like my favorite job ever. My bosses were like super cool. It was a really chill place. There was only like 5 of us that worked there, so it was a real small boutique operation. And I was in charge of all the tech and all the illustration work. Okay, so those are my 2 jobs there. And I'm just going to, what I'll do is if I can get up on the screen, I'm just going to share some of that content from when I was.
Yeah, you can share.
Okay. Yep. Okay, great. So I'm just going to go into like a few things. Okay, so When I was at the sports marketing firm, I was able to work on stuff for the NHL. Okay. This is a logo I did for the NHL for the Stanley Cup. That was like probably one of my uh, best and most favorite jobs, and probably more people have seen that logo than anything else I've ever done.
When were you at NHL?
Well, this was back in the 90s and early
Oh,
2000s. Okay.
okay. I know somebody who works there.
Oh, is it David Haney or?
No, Rich Libero.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know, Rich. Yeah. So these are some of the projects I did for NHL. All-star game logos. I did a lot of stuff for Major League Baseball. Uh,
When
this
were
was
you at MLB?
the same period. Yeah. So I knew, did you know Ann Osi or?
I worked at MLB.com for 7 years.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the guy's name who ran that? He was,
Bob Bowman.
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
He got
So,
fired.
yeah, everybody's right.
All right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's cool. Yeah. It's like, there's a lot of crossover there.
Right.
So here's a job I did for Major League Baseball. It was a three-dimensional map of the Fan Fest. Okay, so every year they have a Fan Fest event, and it's held at like the Jacob Javits Center or something like that, and they have all these booths there where you can do all baseball stuff, and you can meet the baseball players and all kinds of stuff. So it's a really cool event, and this is a map of the whole event that is given to everybody when they go there. So that was something that I created for them. So it's a pretty complex job. I don't think my work gets much more complex than doing one of these FanFest maps. Okay. And then after that, I went out on my own and started freelancing, and I worked for Toys R Us. Okay, and I did a bunch of stuff for them. These are some of the graphics I did for them. And eventually they went out of business. I used to do work for this TV show called American Chopper. Okay, and I would create graphics that they would use on the motorcycles. So these are some of the graphics I've created for that TV show. It was like a reality show where they built motorcycles. It was really fun. Some stuff for Minolta. They wanted a grumpy old copying machine guy. So I made this grumpy old copying machine guy for them. This is some stuff I did for Mad Libs. Okay. So I got around different places. When you're freelancing, you just gotta like hustle and get out there. So that's some of the stuff I did for them. And during this whole period, I was really learning a lot about my own fine art too, I have to say. There was really a crossover between the commercial and the fine art stuff. I really learned how to make money and how to work as a commercial artist. And I think that really helped me make the transition into becoming a fine artist, because I was more savvy about making money, So these are some icons I did for their app, their phone app, Minolta. This was just a job I really like. I did that for the Camden County Library. I did the side of their van, which drives around the town. Here's some stuff I did for a company called Critical Mass. Okay, they're like they do board shorts and stuff. So these are some of the designs I've done for them. They also do like all kinds of apparel. So these are all apparel designs that I did for them. And this is kind of crossing over into my fine art now, like I'm starting to use my own creativity to create graphics, but they're also commercial. So, and then this was a company called Athlon. I did some designs for them. And here's some like basic repeat patterns I did for Critical Mass. So, so that kind of shows you like I'm starting to, and then this were like my promos. Okay, so I would, in the old days, used to send out postcards to everybody. Okay, so I made up this whole series called the Surf Jerks, and every month I would send out a different card, so they would be collectible cards, and then art directors could like tack them up on their bulletin board or whatever, and they could collect all 12. So those are the Surf Jerks. Then I started doing. I got a commission to do a public mural, so I started designing on the computer public murals. Okay, and this is one design I had for that. And this is a thing. This lady out in California wanted me to do. It was called Zen of Sports. So I came up with all these like sports ideas, and just basically using my own style. Okay, and then she asked me to do a poster for the Hollywood sign, and I did. I came up with this poster for the Hollywood sign. She ran like the Hollywood downtown something bid or something. So I did that for her. So that's like my commercial stuff. And then what happened was, all along I've always been doing my painting and stuff. And then I started to take a little more seriously. Illustration work started drying up a little bit. So I decided to just kind of make the jump into fine art, and just started doing some fine art. So I'll show you some. This is the latest show I just had at the Novato Gallery in Jersey City. Okay, so this is one of my sculptures. It's 8 foot tall. It's made out of all construction material. One of my really good friends is a sculptor, and he helped me with some of the logistics of it. So this is an 8 foot sculpture that I created. And then this is a hanging mobile. Okay. And I also do hanging mobiles in public spaces. I have one at the Morris Hospital right here in Morristown. Okay. And here's some paintings. Okay, so these are some of my paintings. So now I'm getting more into just doing complete fine art, and just a different view of the sculpture. And here's some of my paintings. My paintings are large. Okay, you can see that there's one behind me. That's a smaller one of the smaller ones, but they're some of them are like 8 feet tall, and that kind of carries over into the public artwork also. Just a different view of the gallery. And then I do these like skate decks. They're super collectible. I have a 3D printer. Okay, so these are all 3D printed objects that I put into the. I love skateboarding and skateboard culture. So I try to use some of that imagery in my work. And then here's just a different view of the hanging piece, and that's got some 3D sculptures on it also. And that's like a mobile, so like when you open the door to the room, it kind of moves around from the wind and stuff. It's cool. And just a different view, some of the large scale. So I'm kind of like developed my own style. I really love like, Keith Haring and this guy A.R. Pank. And so I'm really influenced by neo-expressionism and pop art. Okay. So that's my show at Novato. And then next thing I'll go into is, let's just do I'll show you some of the murals. Okay, so this is some of the public artwork. And this is like one of my larger one of my larger murals. Okay, that's in Orange, New Jersey. Okay, that's on the side of Luna Stage. And with my public work, I try to make it look like I want to give it the story of the community. Okay, so I go in and I talk to the people who live in the community, and we have like a brainstorming session, and I come up with ideas of like what might work for them. Okay, so it's a little bit less of my own like expression and more of like input from the community. So I kind of have to adapt my style to fit what their needs are. And this one was, it's called the Luna Stage is the name of the place. So I put the Luna Moon in, and it used to be a hat factory. And so I put a little hat in there to pay homage to what the building used to be. And that's what I try to do with a lot of my public art. This is my largest mural. Okay, I painted this by myself. It's in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and it's there's like a whole explanation to it too. It's like there's a housing development company, there's a dental clinic. Okay, right next door is the tribal headquarters for the Ottawa Nation. So I wanted to pay homage to them too. So I added some of their imagery into the piece. And then this is the Grand River running through the center of it, and always like, there's always like some kind of like sun or like light in, like, to kind of pay homage to the future, like the sun rising or something. Yeah. So I always try to make it like uplifting in some way. This was one I did at the Montclair Art Museum. And it was the director of the museum asked me to come in and look at their Native American collection, and then to sort of give it like my own twist. So I used like a fusion of my own work and Native American work. And each one of the symbols represents a different tribe that is in the collection at the museum. This was one I did in Newark, okay? So a lot of my work I do with public engagement, where I get the public involved. So in this piece, I had 500 students from the city of Newark help me to create this mural, which is 50 feet high and stands in the center of town, okay? And that was a really wonderful project. It was sponsored by the Tibet House, and they wanted us to use the imagery of support and protect our children. So that's the message I put into that mural. And that's still down right in the center of Newark, center of downtown Newark. This is another piece I did for a place called Arts Unbound. So a lot of like, I get a lot involved with a lot of social issues and social, justice places, and Arts Unbound is an art gallery for disabled people, okay? So they asked me to paint this mural on the side of their building. This one's at the Montclair Art Museum, and they wanted me just to do a playful mural going up the staircase, so all the kids would not use the elevator and go up the stairwell to get to the children's section of the library. So that was a lot of fun. It was just very spontaneous. And then this is a public engagement I did with people in South Orange. Okay, so I had a group of people who just came off the street, and I handed them a paintbrush, and they could add to the mural like a paint by number. Okay, and I kind of directed them, and then that's what we came up with. And then this is another piece in South Orange. This is the Jazz Cats, okay? And they're in the alleyway between Main Street and the parking lot. And it's all just jazz cats doing their thing. They wanted to do like a music themed public art work. Here's one for NJ Citizens Action, okay? And they're a social, they're a social justice group advocating for social justice and economic justice. So that is a piece I did for them. This one's at Overlook Hospital, and the theme has like sort of a history of the hospital in there, and a lot of the imagery is related to like the different departments there. So that's and then this one I did at Chilton Medical Center, and I had all the employees, nurses, and doctors took shifts and helped me to paint it. It was done as like a relaxation workshop for them. It was really fun. And this one is just one I did down in Florida at a place called the Bowl School. And it's just like a private school, and they just wanted a fun mural in their cafeteria. So I'm gonna do that. And then here's so I also do artist residencies in schools, and this is a school mural I did with the 5th grade at Holland Brook School. And here's some more. They hire me every year to do an artist residency at their school. So I've been filling the whole school with murals, and the kids help me paint it. It's really fun. We have a blast. It's a lot of fun. More school residency. I've done a lot of school residencies. Not so much this last year though. It's been tough. And these are just different ones for schools. Okay, so I guess that's enough. You get an idea of the work, right? There was just one more thing I wanted to show you. So my wife and I own a business called Core Creative, and this is my wife, Katie, and she does public engagement where she talks to people, and we do workshops where we do creative workshops with organizations and businesses. And here's one of our projects I showed you before. Okay. And so I also, so we work to do public artworks with people. Okay. And Katie helps develop the ideas for the mural. This is a project we did in Millburn. Okay, we had 24 organizations decorate mill wheels, these little miniature golf mill wheels, and then we lined them all around the park as an art installation. And every organization had their own, style to it. And this is a installation we did called the Theater of Light, where we here in Morristown we lit up the Vale Mansion, and we had people. We did workshops where people created stars, and they could add their stars to this cable that we stretched across, and then you could walk through the cable. So everybody came and brought their stars and hung them. And one night we had and it was installed for one night. And this final one is the pumpkin illumination. So what I do is I go into schools and work with kids, and we make masks, and I do then we do a big parade at Halloween time. Okay. And everybody takes their pumpkins and lines them around the reflecting pond at the Vale Mansion. And at nighttime, it's all lit up. It's illuminated. It's really cool. We get like 2,000 people at that event. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, that's all I got. How'd I do?
That was pretty amazing, Dan.
Okay.
You were amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, well, I've been doing it for a long time, so I'll just, let me stop sharing the screen here. And, it seems like a lot of work, but it's over a whole career of many, many years. So, when you spread it out, it's like, it's fun. I love doing it. I just love doing it. And
yeah.
I love working, especially with communities and helping people and bringing art to like regular people instead of in the museum, where it's more accessible and everybody gets to see it and enjoy it, So that's kind of like become a little bit of my mission in life, is to bring art to the world,
Yeah, the murals are really inspirational.
Oh, thanks.
They really
Yeah,
are.
so, I guess I could open it up to questions. Oh, I just wanted to show you, here's one of my 3D guys here. Okay.
Oh, can you explain how you make those?
Yeah, I have a 3D printer. My studio is kind of a mess, but it always is. So I'll just turn it over here. You can kind of see the 3D printer. Can you see it over there?
Yeah.
It's on the table, okay? So I wanted to get into 3D printing, and I started looking at 3D printers, and they were like, $3,000, $4,000. And I was like, I can't do that. So then I started looking at the other side, and people build them, So I found this kit for $500 that you could build your own.
Wow.
And to my surprise, it actually worked when I followed the instructions and put it together.
Wow. You'll have to send me that info.
Okay. Yeah, they're pretty easy to, relatively easy to make.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. So now I have my own 3D printer. And the new thing I'm doing now is with my Oculus, I'm learning that program, Gravity Sketch.
Right.
You can actually take those models and turn them into 3D prints. So I'm trying to do a proof of concept of that right now.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
So, it's always something new to learn. The pandemic has really, kind of forced us back into our studios a lot more. I'm not doing anything with the public right now, except we do have one thing coming up with the Morris County Parks Department and another project with the Morris Museum. So those are, just signed off on. So I'm like, oh, good, things are starting to turn around,
Oh, did you get they were putting together a proposal for 2021. There was a certain area they wanted an installation. Is that the project?
Oh, you mean at the Parks Department, or? No, we're doing something else with them. Yeah, another project. Yeah.
Yeah, they do a lot with artists.
Oh, I know. Yeah, they're great. I really. This is our first big project. We're going to do like a visioning session with them, and then we'll try and go from there and see what happens.
That's awesome.
So yeah, do you guys have any questions? Let me just put it into gallery mode here. How's it going, everybody?
Hello.
Good.
They say
Doing good.
20 minutes is like enough, and then you're bored, man. So, you guys ask any questions you want, man. I'm here to answer.
I have a question. So like, you
Sure,
like
Edward,
working.
how are you today?
How are you? Your work is amazing. I really like it.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
So you like working with communities. So like, what's the most difficult part with working with communities for you? Like, I know it must be.
Yeah, I don't like to use the word difficult,
Or
because
challenging.
yeah, challenging is better. Yeah. It's just sometimes you get what happens is like you get a lot of input from people and everybody wants their idea in the mural. Okay. So what I have to usually tell people is like, this can't be everything that everybody wants. You can't, that old saying, you can't put 5 pounds of crap into a 10 pounds of crap into a 5-pound bag, right?
Mhm.
So what I do is I try to tell them that this is first a piece of artwork, okay? And then I'm going to run this whole thing, everything you told me, through the graphic filter in my head, and decide what's the most important, what icons can express everybody's ideas more universally, and not get too specific with like icons, more inspiration than representation, and a lot of times people fight that because they want their thing in there, and then it depends on how much push and pull, we're all willing to give to that, and try not to turn it into a knockdown, drag out fight. But it's all good, because we're doing something fun and important, So you want to get everybody's input, and you want to give everybody a voice, and that's really, it's hard. It is hard to do that, to give everybody in the community a voice,
Mm. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Anybody else?
Hello.
Hi, Dijon? Is it
Visionary.
Day? How are you today?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, thanks. Yeah.
So how do you go about your 3D printed sculptures? Like, do you draw them out first? Do you play with clay?
Yeah, no, you know what? I do a lot of drawing. I have a sketchbooks, so I use sketches. And then what I'll do is, because the sketchbook you can take anywhere you want and use it all the time, and then if I'm kind of like running dry on ideas, I'll thumb through the old sketches and see, what I remember I like, and then what I use a 3D modeling program called Fusion 360. Okay, and it's like so you can create the models in there, and then what you have to do is you have to turn them into this thing called G code. Okay, so in order to get there, you have to use what's called a slicer. Okay, so it's a program you bring the model into, and it turns it into a 3D model. Okay, and the way that 3D models work are they're built like layers of a cake, like thousands of layers. Okay, so think of it as just one layer, and it's like just every layer is like a different thing, so that's what the slicing program does. And then you have to it requires a lot of learning. There is a learning curve. So like how much infill do you want? Do you want 20% infill? Like, do you want it to be solid infill? Because it'll take much longer if it's solid, So there's all these decisions that you have to make. But you get there though, it's all the matter of going online and joining all the forums and talking to the rest of the nerds out there, So yeah, does that answer your question? Or
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
of course. Anybody else? So I'm curious, what are you guys, all designers, industrial design, artists, fine art?
A bit of everything, I guess.
Oh,
Fine
good.
art and graphic design, and I don't know, some clothing stuff as well.
Oh, so, hey, I
And also I had a question, like, let's say you paint a mural, like, is it every time you get like asked to do it, or do you like sign
Yeah.
up for like not a contest, but like to get the work?
Yeah, so there are several different ways to do it, and a lot of the times it is like, word of mouth, okay? And then sometimes you have to do what's called a RFQ, okay, which is a request for qualifications, okay? Or maybe an RFP, which is a request for a proposal. So like in a request for qualifications, you just send them work you've already done and they decide who they want. But in a request for a proposal, you actually have to draw a picture of the mural and send that to them, and then they decide, So there's and then so yeah, and then the other thing is I'm a member of Morris Arts, okay, and Morris Arts does an arts and education program, and I'm one of the artists on their roster. So when they go to schools, they show them all the artists they have in their roster, and then the school picks the artists they want to do the residency, So that's another way that I also get jobs, And then my wife Katie she's like the marketer extraordinaire. Okay, she's really the people person in our group, kid. So she's she's if I didn't have my wife Katie, I'd probably be, I don't know what I'd be doing. I'd probably be in the army.
Wasn't Katie the director of Morse Museum for a while?
Well, no. She was the director of community engagement at Morris Arts, and now she's the director of arts and inclusion at Mayo Performing Arts Center. So, yeah, she's got.
I remember she switched jobs.
She did.
I actually know Katie.
Oh, you do? Everybody knows Katie. I'm not surprised.
But we met at before at a different art show.
Yes. Yeah, I
Watchung Art Center.
Oh, of course. Yes. Yeah. She's the best, man.
Yeah.
I married up, so it's all good. So Abigail, you've been kind of quiet over there. I know you're thinking about something.
I actually, yeah, I'm looking at the painting behind you, and I was just wanting to know, is it like finished, or is it something you're working on? Because it's beautiful right now.
Thanks. No, it's finished. I was working on one underneath it. I didn't want to show you guys that one. I tacked that one up before class. I got it. You know what? I also, besides getting the Oculus, I got a new airbrush, which I haven't used an airbrush in 20 something years, and I'm having a blast with that right now. But I don't have any work that I'm ready to show anybody yet. So.
I actually had another question. The like designs you use, like your I wanted to know, what was your inspiration as well as with the colors you use, because they're all very bright and vibrant. Is there any inspiration behind those?
That's great. Well, I love tribal art, and I love like ancient art. So yeah, so a lot of like my inspiration comes from tribal and from like Aztec and Egyptian, so like I have a lot of influences with that, but then also love like modern art, I love like Basquiat and Picasso and those guys. So a lot of my inspiration comes from like, and then I love cartoons, I mean, I guess inspiration is anywhere you look, it's like you can find it in like some goofy commercial on TV, it's like, it's just what you decide is inspirational, it's like, and then you put that into your head and it becomes part of your library of ideas, so that's, and and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, it's like, you never know. Hope that answers.
Have you done stuff for Nickelodeon?
Never Nickelodeon. I did stuff for Warner Brothers. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one of your cartooning, it looks very Ren and Stimpy-ish.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I've yeah, I would love to do stuff for Cartoon Network. That would be fun.
Yeah. Do you ever think about doing that kind of work again, or do you just stay fine?
You know what, we're right now we're so involved with like core creative that I don't really think about doing illustration. you know what, illustration, I have to tell you, you know, it's for you guys, you're young, you know. The graphic design and illustration world are for the young, man, you know. So I think I've kind of retired out of that for myself, you know. I just don't I'm not as like up on the trends as I used to be, you know, because I'm old, you know. So so I leave that to the bright young minds that are looking at me right now. And John, what's going on over there, man? I like the headset. That's very pro, man. It looks very pro.
Oh, thank you. Um, I was thinking you showed off some logos you did earlier,
Yes.
and how exactly do you manage to find companies, businesses that need new logos? Like, how do you figure out what to earn from them exactly?
Well, okay, so back in my graphic design and illustration days, well, when I was working for the sports marketing firm, it was easy because my boss just gave me jobs to do, you know, so I didn't have, he was the one hunting out all the work. And then after I left there, it was sort of word of mouth, like, you know, what happened was like, you know, the art directors over at NHL just called me directly, you know, and because you start to know everybody. So I guess it's just a matter of networking. And then what happens is, you know, people go like, oh, my friend's just starting a business and he needs a logo, you know, do you think you can help him out? I'm like, yeah, sure, you know. And then, so you know, yeah, it's a lot of that. Like, so once you get that network of people in your tribe, then you can kind of expand out from there, you know. And I have a very tight group of friends who are all creatives, you know? So,
All right.
and that will occur the more you do it, the more you, like, I always found that like wherever I went, I just gained new friends, man, just new friends for life, you know. And it's pretty fun. It's very fun.
Thank you.
Of course. And okay, Jeremy, are you there? Or are you just chilling because we don't even know if you're there?
Right. Jeremy.
Yeah, he's there.
There.
How you doing?
Fine. I really do like the illustrations, like especially the sort of zany ones.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love doing zany, man. Zany's always fun. Thanks. You have any questions or?
I think that card idea is just fantastic, and that's a really good way to market yourself as an artist.
Yes.
You know, sending out something you illustrate as a postcard, just, it's nice enough. They're going to pin it up. They're not going to throw it away.
Yeah. And the fun thing is like all the surf jerks on the back of the card, they have an explanation of what they are in that universe, you know?
Oh, that's great.
So I never developed it into like any store or anything, but the idea was I was going to develop it into a comic strip that the art directors could go to the website and keep up on, but it never panned out, you know. But like those are the kind of ideas that can really, you can fertilize and like, you know, turn into something fun and different, you know.
Definitely.
Well, are you guys all Dan Fenelon out? Like, have you heard enough? They say the attention span is only 20 minutes now. What do you think? Is that true? I mean, you
Actually,
got
I have another question as well.
Leaf. Is it Leaf?
Since, yeah, or yeah, Leaf. You can, it works. And I was wondering, since it's a marketing class and all, and we were like working on artist statements and stuff
Oh,
at the
yeah.
moment, and I was wondering, do you have one, like
I
one
have.
specific one?
Well, you know what? I have different artist statements for different things. Okay.
Okay.
So it's not just a matter of one, and you know what? That is the biggest pain in the ass, if anything. Keep up on that, okay? Because like, you know, one person wants one thing, another person, and it's like, and I hate writing artist statements. I hate doing my resume. I hate doing my bio.
I feel like every artist hate that part of the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have my wife Katie is a great writer, so I pretend that I've written something and I show it to her, and then she rewrites it. you know, works out perfect.
That's awesome. You're
Yeah.
lucky.
Yes. Yeah. And well, it's always not with great enthusiasm that she does that. So it's all good.
You're very shrewd too, I see.
Well, marketing is about being shrewd, right? Is
Yeah.
it? Yeah. You have to, there's a little bit of like, you got to hook people in when you're marketing yourself, so that's important. Yeah. Yep. Marketing and creative, it's like, you think it's the same department, but it's like two different worlds, I've worked with a lot of marketing people, and like sometimes marketers and creatives, it's like oil and water,
Well,
you
I
can
think,
have the greatest idea in the world and they're like, this isn't going to sell anything, so.
right, because a lot of times marketers think they are the creative mind.
Oh,
And the
oh, yeah.
creators, it's like, yeah, like you said, oil and water.
But you know what? I guess they have to exist in the same universe. So that's the way things are.
I have a question about market. I lost the question.
That's okay.
What would you say has been the God dang it.
It's okay.
The best decision you've made marketing your art?
Oh, the best decision I've made. Oh, that's really tough, man.
Or just, your.
Yeah. Well, I think my the happiest decision I made was when I made the jump from commercial to fine art. Okay, because I'm much happier as a fine artist than I was as a commercial artist. Even though I loved doing commercial art, this is much more fulfilling, So I think that was probably the best career decision I made, even though it wasn't the wisest financially. Okay. It's always, and I've learned over my career that if you are an artist, you are struggling. You are struggling somehow. Usually unless you're really smart in the financial department, But there's a lot of artists out there who are making millions of dollars, and
Yeah, networking is really important too.
Yes.
And I think a lot of those artists that are making the millions have agents. Do you have an agent?
I've had several agents over my career, and I've always found that I do much better on my own. Agents are funny because and I've had both commercial and fine art, and like you won't hear from your agent from like months, right? And then you call them up and they're like your best friend, and they're like, oh, I just was thinking about you. I got this whole project, and it's like, no, you weren't. But yeah, that's yep. I mean, I got my house, I got my studio, I got, all my car is paid for. I just bought an Oculus, so I'm not doing too bad, right?
Right. And you're connected.
I mean, I don't have a house in the Bahamas, if that's what everybody's thinking.
Right. Second house.
Yeah. Or even a first house,
Right.
Anyway, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you I know you do a lot of morals and stuff like that. Do you ever still, no matter like how much you do it, do you still get like nervous when you present them?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I get nervous. I'm sure. I'm nervous right now, Yeah, that's a good, I mean, it's one thing to be nervous, and it's another thing to show that you're nervous, so the more you present, the more confidence you build, and that's just going to have to come with experience, and that's the main reason to get out there and present, I know a lot of like my friends who are creatives, they've been in the same job for like 20 years, And it's like, and then they lose their job and they got to go out and interview for a new job. And I'm thinking, man, I'm like interviewing for a new job every 2 weeks, you know?
Right?
Yeah. So it's like at this point, you know, I'm used to it, you know, I'm used to, and you know, the bigger the fish, the more nervous you get, you know. It's like, and I don't even know why that is, you know. But I guess it's just because you know, you're afraid of falling further if you don't get it, you know. And that's the other thing you got to deal with is rejection, man. You know, there's a lot of rejection out there, and it still pisses me off, you know. It's like, I should have gotten that, you know. So, you know, that's just your ego. You're dealing with your ego, you know. It's your artists are always fighting their egos, man, you know, and you can get like very egotistical being an artist. So I guess there's nothing like a little humility to help you keep balanced, you know, but not too much humility.
It's so true about the you know, when you're applying for different shows, it's knowing your market though. Like
Yeah.
you shouldn't approach a gallery owner that only has bronze sculptures with
Right.
your kind of art.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true. Yeah, it's tricky, you know. Yeah, you got to do your homework. You definitely have to do your homework, because I've had that experience where I'm like, you know, sent my stuff to a gallery and they're like, "Have you looked at our website?" It's like, "Oh no, it's wrong gallery." You know, yeah. It's like, and then you learn, you know. It's like, oh, shouldn't have done that. You know.
But it's still, you still have to know someone even to get in a gallery.
Yes,
It's connections.
that's the best thing. The best way to do it is to to know somebody. Yep. And yeah, and that takes time. You know, again, that takes time. Like if you want to be fine art, you have to hang out in the fine art world. You know, you have to go to the openings. You have to talk to. You don't just you know, call up and say, "I look at my portfolio." You know, you got to go there. You got to know about the other artists that show there. You know, so you know, there's definitely a lot of footwork involved.
Definitely. Do you live in Morristown?
I do. Yes.
Oh, okay. So that's great. You're right there and you're doing all the events.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's yeah, it is good. It is. This is like our home base, you know. Yeah. I also, you know, that's one of the things that I stress to myself is like to be community active, you know. Like I think that's important, you know. I mean, not for everybody, but for me, you know, I want to be community active and do something positive for the community, you know.
Definitely.
Yep.
Well, this is amazing to have you show your work and talk to us.
It was absolutely my pleasure. 100%. And the best part is it was easy class, right?
Right? Definitely.
Do you